Twist was so simple. Twist was so simple. It's complicated. Hail Caesar, directed and written by the Coen brothers, the men that brought us Fargo, The Big Lebowski, and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Funny I should mention that movie, since the star of that movie, George Clooney, comes back for this movie. This movie is very much a love letter to the 1950s, to the Hollywood age of the 1950s, and it is about a film studio called Capitol Pictures, run by Mr. Mannix, played by Josh Brolin. He's got this big film production called Hail Caesar, starring Baird Whitlock, who's played by George Clooney. What happens is George Clooney's character gets kidnapped by this organization called The Future. They're holding him up for ransom. Josh Brolin's character has to find a way to get the money necessary before the press gets a hold of this story. The two journalists in this movie are played by the same actress, Tilda Swinton, which is hilarious that she's playing both a tabloid journalist and a serious journalist. So is that trying to say that Hollywood sees serious journalists and tabloid journalists as the same? This is just a really good movie, and it's got a really big cast. You got Scarlett Johansson, Ralph Fiennes, who plays this dramatic director, and a new actor that I've never heard of, Alden Ehrenreich. He plays this rodeo actor, who's very much only good in westerns, and he's casted to be in Lawrence Aritz's dramatic movie. It is really funny, the scene Ralph Fiennes and Alden Ehrenreich have together, rehearsing this line, "'Twas was so simple," and how many times Alden Ehrenreich has to say it over and over again. Each time it gets more hilarious. And then the overall punchline that comes out later on in the film about that scene is really funny too. Channing Tatum shows up in this movie, even though he's not in the movie that much. The role he has is pretty important to the film. You also have Jonah Hill shows up in this movie. Surprisingly, for only one scene, and he was one of the advertised actors in this movie, and really he only makes a cameo. But then again, that was one of the fun things about this movie, was seeing some of the cameos in this film, like Frances McDormand, who was the big actress from Fargo, and Christopher Lambert from Highlander shows up in this movie for one scene. That was pretty cool, seeing him in this movie. As well as some of the other cameos that do show up in this film. I really did like this movie. I like the fact that it's a love letter to the 1950s. The production design is really good. The cinematography is great. It really feels like the 1950s, and the acting is really good. So what are the negatives? For starters, not all the actors that you expect would get a lot of screen time don't get a lot of screen time, as I said before. Also, the movie doesn't have that much focus. You think that this movie is going to be about a kidnapping, it ends up being about something more about the struggle to run a film studio from Mr. Mannix's point of view, and that part of the story was actually very good. I did like that part of the story a lot. But the movie has different tones, it has comedic tones, it has serious and dramatic tones, and a movie that goes that much all over the place can be a bit much for some audiences. I do think this is a movie that not everybody's gonna like, but I did like it a lot, and I do think this movie is a gem to watch around this time, since we just got out of January, which is the movie dumping ground, and February is not much better. It's rare to get some good movies. We got this movie, this is a very good movie, and next week we got Deadpool, which I'm really looking forward to. That's going to be a great action film, hopefully. It's just a really refreshing feeling to get good movies in the month of February, because there's usually not that many good movies coming out in February. Overall, I'm going to give this movie a B plus. Definitely check this movie out. And that's all I gotta say for Hail Caesar.